but more importantly, he didn't have any turnovers. And that's really what we wanted to see from Daniel Jones. We understand Daniel Jones has the ability to make throws that a franchise quarterback is asked to make, but we just needed him to stop turning the ball over. Hey, what's going on? I'm Keith here at Sportsvibestv, and the Giants just beat the Eagles 27-17. Now, Daniel Jones played a very good game. He did not throw for any touchdowns, but more importantly, he didn't have any turnovers. And that's really what we wanted to see from Daniel Jones. We understand Daniel Jones has the ability to make throws that a franchise quarterback is asked to make, but we just needed him to stop turning the ball over. And we've seen in the last few games what can happen if Daniel Jones just doesn't turn the ball over. He didn't turn the ball over last week and we won. And this week he didn't turn the ball over against a team that's a little bit better than the Washington football team, and we were able to win again. Now, a lot of his detractors were going to say he's only beaten the Washington football team, but he was able to come out today and lead this team to a dub. He did have a couple runs that he was able to break loose on or break free on, and he did have one rushing touchdown, so he did assist in that way. But when it comes to him passing the ball, there was one key drive where he just made a beautiful throw to Sterling Shepard on the left hash, and then he made another throw right after that to Golden Tate over on the right hash. And this allowed us to get into a much better scoring position, and we were able to score, and that put us up for good. Now, Daniel Jones, he showed me in this game that he has the ability to be a franchise quarterback. We just need to see the consistency now. This is 2 games. He's put together 2 games with no turnovers. Now let's see if we can take those 2 games and make it 4. Take those 4 games and make it 8, and so on and so forth. 8 games with no turnovers is highly unlikely, seeing how Daniel Jones has played so far. But if he can just minimize those turnovers as much as possible, we'll actually have a shot at winning this division. The Eagles now have dropped to 3-5-1, and the Giants were only a half game behind. Now we're equal in the win column, and we just have 2 more losses. So, talking about the other parts of the team, defensively we were sound. We didn't allow the Philadelphia Eagles to move up and down the field like we did in the second half of our previous game against them. And we saw some good signs. Leonard Williams, he worked with Dexter Lawrence to get some pressure. They got a sack late in the game that kind of helped seal it. Also, we saw James Bradbury performing well. He had a breakup also in the second half that, that's one of those signings that Dave Gettleman made. That's really, we got a lot of value out of that signing. James Bradbury has been a consistent force on the defense from day one. Him and also Blake Martinez. Those are 2 signings that we can look at Dave Gettleman and, give Dave Gettleman credit for bringing those players on board. Now, the offensive line, we've seen Joe Judge say that he was going to be, mixing and matching. For the most part, we saw all the offensive linemen that are going to be in competition with one another. We saw all of them play. Pert, he spent some time at right tackle. I saw him also spend a little bit of time at left. We saw Lemieux. Lemieux started the game. He was in at left guard. Will Hernandez, he came in as well. Zeitler went down and had to leave, so they brought in Will Hernandez as well. And Nick Gates held it down at center. Fleming started, and the offensive line, they're working together and they're looking like a cohesive unit. We're seeing a lot more chemistry with that unit, with that side of that part of the team. And I like how this team is actually, gelling. You see it at running back with Wayne Gallman. Wayne Gallman was a player that in training camp, a lot of people were saying Gallman could potentially be cut. And now that Saquon Barkley has gone down, we're seeing, Gallman come to life behind Daniel Jones and behind this offensive line. And it makes me very, very positive when it comes to the remaining outlook of this season, as well as how we're going to look next year once we get Barkley back at some point. We'll be able to not have to stress Barkley out because we should still have Gorman to help him carry some of the workload. Now, what I want to do is I want to just look at some of the stats from the game with you guys. So let's just head over there. So like I said, Daniel Jones, he didn't have any touchdowns passing, but he had no interceptions, and he also had no fumbles. So 21 for 28, he threw for 244 yards and averaged 8.7 yards per pass. All right. And rushing, once again, Daniel Jones was the leading rusher on the team. He broke a couple big runs. That read option, really, Philadelphia, they struggled with it whenever that call was played. So Gorman, he was serviceable. He didn't have a great game, but he had a good enough of a game that we had to fear the rush. Also, Alfred Morris came in. He was pretty good in the few times that he came in as well. Totally, for the team, we had 151 yards rushing, and that's something we would not have expected from the Giants at the beginning of the season. We didn't expect the Russian attack to be this potent halfway through the season. Now receiving, Darius Slayton, once again, he's doing his thing out there. He made multiple plays. He had one big drop that kind of messed up the flow of the offense, and we ended up turning the ball over on, well, we didn't turn the ball over on down. We had to kick it on 4th down. And, outside of that, though, he had a pretty good game, 5 receptions on 7 targets. He totaled 93 yards, almost had 100 yards in receiving, and he had a nice 40-yard catch as well. Sterling Shepard, once again, he had a good game as well. 6 receptions for 47 yards. Golden Tate, it was his first game back. He had that one big catch that I told you that he caught right after Sterling Shepard made his big catch. And I think they were back to back. It was a 27-yard catch by Sterling Shepard, and it was followed immediately after by a nice 38-yard bomb to Golden Tate. Dion Lewis was serviceable. We didn't see Lewis much in the rushing game. Elijah Penny, they gave him the ball once, and it was a bad decision. It was a 3rd and 1, if I'm not mistaken. And we tried to give it to him to get the first down, and we were unsuccessful. Evan Ingram, he also ran the ball a couple times. Caden Smith. Austin Mack was quiet. You didn't really hear much from him. No fumbles. Once again, Jones did not fumble the ball. Defensively, Jabril Peppers was all over the place. As, once again, this is another Gettleman trade piece that we're using right now on our defense, and Jabril Peppers has been pretty good. I liked it originally when we made that trade, and seeing what has happened with Beckham over in Cleveland, I'm happy we actually made the move when we did. Now, Logan Ryan was serviceable. Devontae Downs was so serviceable. But as you can see, Bradbury, 2 passes defended. And Peppers and Ryan, they were getting into the backfield frequently. Each of them both had 1 quarterback hit. And then Dexter Lawrence, he had a sack. I think it should be half a sack. I don't know if they ended up, they didn't give Leonard Williams the other half of the sack, but technically it should be a half sack for Dexter Lawrence and a half sack for Leonard Williams. They may adjust that post game. And then for the most part, everybody else did pretty good. So all around, it was a pretty good game for the Giants. I'm happy with the performance we saw out there on both sides and also on special teams. Now, I want to hear what you guys thought about the game down below in the comments. Once again, I'm Keith, host of Sportsvibestv, and I'm out.
Uh-huh.